Recon Athlete Podcast is brought to you by Kreitz Market, The Social, and Focus Fit San Marcos.
Recon Athlete Podcast, episode number 53. How y'all doing, world? As y'all can see, it's me tonight, solo. I think Zach may be coming through, but Chris has the night off, so I'll be the bus driver this evening. Pretty packed show. We're going to start off with WilderFury 2, which is coming off this Saturday, the February 22nd. Get into a little XFL. Some surprise teams that are kind of coming out of the state of Texas, which is pretty cool. And I think also some letdowns by Landry Jones and the Dallas team out there. So that's a little bit of an unfortunate issue. And then probably to close it out, some big names, big offers, big universities. Austin area recruiting will probably wrap up with the show with that. But let's just go ahead and get things kicked off. We might have a couple of calling guests. We're not quite sure yet, but the biggest thing I wanted to get off the show was WilderFury 2, a huge anticipated rematch of the ages. I think it's just awesome that we're having heavyweight bouts go on that are of such huge magnification because I don't know a lot about y'all, but me, I remember the late 80s and Mike Tyson having his bouts with Riddick Bowe, and then you had, of course, in the early 90s, Tyson and Evander Holyfield were, just throwing fists and throwing bows and biting off ears even because, that was a big issue that was happening back in the day. And then, of course, Mike went on to do a little bit of time and left the fight game. But Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, February 22nd, huge matchup. I'm really excited to see if Tyson Fury can go the distance. I mean, a lot of people are talking about how if Tyson Fury can go the distance, he'll have the edge. I mean, he's more of the pure skilled boxer out of the two, and everybody knows Deontay Wilder, and some are claiming that he has the most powerful right hand ever in the heavyweight game to date. So that's a tremendous accolade that people are bestowing upon him who've seen the different eras of boxing. We all know that it went to a split decision draw last time. And, Deontay Wilder is bowing up and saying he's bringing 6-inch nails and an Alabama hammer to get the job done to put Fury away and baptize him and put him to bed. So we'll see how things fare out. But my biggest thing that I thought, taking away from a lot of the footage leading up to this fight, is Tyson Fury seems too relaxed and almost too laid back in the sense that maybe he's going to be going away from the game after this. He's talked about how he wants to knock out Wilder in 2 rounds, put him to bed and say, I'm off to greener pastures. The man's had a tremendous career. He grew up fighting. He comes from, fighting gypsies, as he says. He's the gypsy king. And I just don't know if him having a relaxed nature is really the best thing to do, because you're going into a fight with one of the most dangerous men that have ever lived in the power of that man's right hand. So I want to see from Tyson Fury a little bit more of an edge. And I think as we get closer to fight night, that's going to grow. Of course, everybody knows the press is going on. They're having daily, stunts that are happening in Las Vegas. And, that's where the camp's been for Tyson Fury this whole time. And Deontay Wilder has been a little bit more vocal with his press coverage, allowing the cameras to come into camp, where Tyson Fury has been the opposite. He didn't want any cameras in camp. And I think for Wilder's sake, he knows what he has to do, and he knows this has to be a significant knockout to set him up to not only have the WBC title, but also take the belts as the lineal champ in Tyson Fury. What would that do? Well, of course, that would set up a huge match if what Deontay Wilder was to capture that victory by knockout or by decision, or however the referees or the judges might have that going out Saturday night. But that potentially could set up a huge match down the road with one Anthony Joshua. So from one Brit to another, that's where Deontay Wilder's future would hold. But before we get there, of course, we have that huge fight night this coming February 22nd on Saturday night. which we'll probably be, celebrating out around town. And I think Chris is out right now having a nice, happy birthday. So we'll be celebrating with Chris this Saturday. But everybody go give Chris Sanchez a big shout out. You can find him at Country Breakfast on social platforms. Give him a big happy birthday. Want to shout out my guy. We're here right now in the Paddock Studios doing the show, and I'm great to have the ability to let him go out and have a good night with his people that he's close with. So big shout out to Chris for getting teaching me the ropes a little bit. Speaking of boxing, showing the ropes here. But Deontay Wilder and Fury, the way I see this match going is quick. I think that in 5 rounds, I know I said under 9 with a KO, and I think that's where Deontay Wilder wants to get it. He wants to make sure that Tyson Fury is put away early, because if he hangs around, if Fury hangs around, Deontay Wilder gets in deep waters, and I think that's where he gets into a lot of trouble. So I'd really like to make sure that Wilder gets a knockout and gets it fast, but the man's shown to have the power to go 12 rounds, and the man's also shown the power to have thunder and lightning in his right hand in the 12th round. Last time it wasn't enough to put Fury away, but maybe this time those 6-inch nails and that Alabama hammer may be enough to get it done. So that's kind of what I'm excited to see. I'm going to find a TV somewhere. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely going to try to find a TV to get in front of to watch that pay-per-view because I think it's only going to be on Fox and only going to be on ESPN Plus pay-per-view streaming. So, unless you have your local cable provider, satellite provider, that's somebody you can also get into. So let's just go ahead and wrap up that segment. Deontay Wilder, man, I hope you get it done, man. Bronze Bomber, I hope you get things done. But if Tyson Fury wins, goodness gracious, man, that could be something to behold, because not only would he take Deontay Wilder's WBC belt, but he'd also still be the lineal champion, and he'll have a lot to say going into his end of his career or taking on the other British champion in Anthony Joshua. Let's just give a quick shout out real quick. Recon Athlete Podcast episode 53. Shouting out Kreitz Market in the building. Also wanted to give a shout out to the Social and Focus Fit San Marcos. Thank you very much for your sponsorship with Recon Athlete. We're very excited to have them on board. Let's get into it. Let's get into the XFL real quick. It's been a really lopsided season this year. We've had a lot of teams that have just been dominating, and granted it's only been 2 weeks, but dominating really in the sense of gameplay. I've watched pretty much every game. There's only been 8 games so far in the 2 weeks, but the Houston Roughnecks and the DC Defenders, in addition to, I really want to say, the St. Louis Battlehawks have been the top teams who've really controlled the line of scrimmage and also controlled the points. Last week, we really got to see a really big game between the St. Louis Battlehawks and the Houston Roughnecks, in a game that was back and forth. Early, it was kind of St. Louis, and then Houston crept up in the second quarter and third quarter. But the Battlehawks' offensive line and running game is tremendous. And for them to not only move the ball on the ground, but at big times use that play action to throw over the top, I think is really tremendous, because they don't really have a really solid defense, and they're going to try to keep ball control and keep that ball away from their offense to really get in momentum and keep that drive on their side. But June Jones' offense, PJ Walker, that offense for the Houston Roughnecks is tremendous, and their ability, I think, also to get off the quarterback and pressure you has been their biggest asset. This week, man, it's really big. Houston's taking on a limping Tampa Bay Vipers team. That's going to be this Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern. So that'll be 1 o'clock our time. You can kind of get pregame XFL before you go down to watch Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 2, which is going to be a really big matchup. Also, Saturday, February 22nd at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, the Dallas Renegades, the underperforming Dallas Renegades, and we'll get to them in a minute, taking on the Seattle Dragons. Seattle, great home field advantage. We'll see if they can take advantage of it, but they're another team that's kind of underperforming, and these are two teams that are kind of underperforming in the sense that they had high expectations. I know Seattle's a great city for football. They've homed in their hometown Seattle Seahawks, and this is also the same stadium where the Seattle Dragons are playing their games. And Landry Jones was not playing the first week for the Dallas Renegades, and he came into week 2, and I think he was just rusty. I think all that injury that he was going through in the rehab really didn't set him well. And so I'm really eager to see if Landry Jones and the Dallas Renegades, led by Bob Stoops, can get some momentum going, because they're underperforming. They're not really hitting the marks that I think Oliver Luck and the XFL brass has really wanted them to do. So we'll see if they can really kind of come out of their shell, get things popping. They're putting them in the evening game, Friday or Saturday night, February 22nd on Fox. I want to see them put up some fireworks, because that's really going to be the biggest thing to get their season off going, because the season, the league has really been centered around Houston, and I think they've had a lot of fanfare. That's where they pretty much had all their training camps, and so all the players were housed primarily in Houston, and Houston's had a great turnout. And I think for Dallas, maybe in the future for the XFL, they really start to move these camps to the other cities to kind of garner that grassroots kind of momentum and bring other cities the fanfare that Houston's kind of receiving at this time. Also, Sunday game slate, February 23rd, 2 o'clock Central, the New York Guardians versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. I like the Battlehawks in this game. We all saw Matt McGloin's blow up at halftime talking about revamping the whole offensive playbook, because they couldn't protect him, and he had every right to feel that way. I mean, granted, he had some errant throws that really should have been being picked up, but a lot of times, if you're not going to have protection, hell, who's going to be throwing the ball and making passes on time if you can't get the ball, or you can't get the line to protect him in the satisfactory manner? But again, New York Guardians at the St. Louis Battlehawks on ESPN, 2 o'clock Eastern. I will really hope the New York Guardians, because New York is a huge market, I really hope that they kind of get more stable line play to support them, because I really like the uniforms. They're pretty dope. I'm really partial to that color scheme. But man, St. Louis Battlehawks, they're just a grinder, more of an old school pro team. They run the ball, control the line of scrimmage. Really excited to see if they can continue their momentum coming off a loss last week to the Houston Roughnecks. And then the final game of the slate, Sunday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. This is a little different. The games usually on Sunday have been about 5 o'clock. Maybe they're getting a little bit more viewership later in the evening, putting this in prime time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, FS1, the DC Defenders taking on the Los Angeles Wildcats, and it kind of makes sense. They're playing in LA. They want to make sure they get enough people out there. 8 o'clock Eastern Time is going to probably be about a 5 o'clock start time in LA for that matchup. DC Defenders, Cardell Jones, probably the most high-profile player that they have right now in their league, coupled with that defense that has been so stingy. Last week didn't give up any points to the New York Guardians. Really excited to see if they can continue that momentum. I see them on a collision course with the Houston Roughnecks as to being the number one team in that league. LA Wildcats kind of not doing things they really thought they could have put up big numbers. So we'll see if maybe they can kind of catch up. It's only the week 3. Guys, XFL, if y'all are listening, take out the halftime interviews in the locker rooms. They're pointless. They really don't do anything. They kind of give an awkward sense. The players are kind of there, not really knowing what to do, and neither are the coaches. When you got coaches trying to, get in-game or mid-game adjustments, it's really not something conducive, I think, to a healthy locker room. And who knows who's dressed and who's not in there anyways. But another thing, too, let's nix those sideline interviews also in-game. Not feeling it at all. Again, here we go. Rattling off the slate, week 3, February 22nd, 1 o'clock. Houston Roughnecks at the Tampa Bay Vipers. Evening game, 4 o'clock on Saturday, Dallas Renegades versus the Seattle Dragons. And then on Sunday, New York Guardians taking on the St. Louis Battlehawks at 2 o'clock. And then, it says 6. I was mistaken. We're going to make an adjustment there and a correction. It's 5 o'clock 5 o'clock Central on FS1, DC Defenders, LA Wildcats. Font a little too small for me to read on Chris's computer. Not Chris's fault, mine all day. Again, well, let's go ahead. Recon Athlete Podcast, episode number 53. P-Rod in the building. Solo. Shouting out Kreitz Market. sponsoring us for this episode. Thank y'all very much. Rounding out the episode tonight, we're just going to go ahead. Something we haven't been doing, but we probably will start and start to get into this a little bit more. We're in the Austin area. We're trying to make sure that we give shine to all the student athletes. And right now, we're primarily focusing on football right now. We know it's the off season, but a lot of universities are starting to, give that shine and give those offers to the level of play here in the Austin area. We've had a lot of kids who have gone on to play at big universities in other years, and we want to make sure that the student athletes, as far as the football players right now, who have garnered a lot of attention, are getting that just due on a platform that we want to make sure that's, a voice for everybody. So let's just start out real quick. Offensive line, Austin High. It's confirmed that Harrison Donovan, class of 21, has picked up a D1 offer from the University of Chicago. If y'all don't know, Harrison has been on a prospect list for, I think, the past 2 years. I think he's an underrated offensive guard, and if he really wanted to, he could probably play on the defensive side of the ball too. And he's got a great quarterback behind him in Charles Wright, who's also picked up offers also this week. But today's been a huge day, humongous day for recruiting in the Austin area. And we're going to highlight LBJ because I don't know what happened, or I don't know who sent an email or who sent what to the SEC, but it's been the SEC and the Pac-12 all day long offering young men here in the Austin area. But today, let's just go ahead and get into it. Georgia Tech offered up class of 21, Andrew Makuba, athlete at LBJ. Georgia Tech with the big offer. Congrats and big ups to them. Del Valle, running back. Everybody knows this young man's name. 4-star running back Tavier Dunlap, offered by the University of Arizona. Big shout outs to Tavy, man. Get it. And then as soon as Georgia Tech offered Andrew Makuba, a lot of people know him as Kuba, Alabama came coming and offered the young man today. Big offer. If y'all don't know, Latrell McCutcheon, teammate of Andrew Makuba at LBJ, offered and committed to Alabama last season. So that was something I think that the schools in the area had really probably garnered a lot of attention. Also for Andrew Makuba, he picked up offers today from Tennessee and Ole Miss. So the SEC came a-running once Alabama made their commitment to Andrew Makuba. Also, if y'all don't know, some people have him rated 4 stars. I have him rated 5 stars, and that is Del Valle, wide receiver, Caleb Burton, class of 22. Young man got offered today by the Cal Bears. Big ups to Caleb Burton. Excited for everything that he's doing and he will do in the future. If y'all don't know these names, y'all can go to Recon Athlete on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on Twitter. You can see all the offers that are getting posted up there. Just give us a like, give us a share. If you want to follow us, you know what you got to do. Just hit that button and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We'll let you know what's going down, and we'll also let you know all the news going on. Another thing, wanted to give a big shout out. If y'all want to go to our Instagram page and you want to check out the 7-on-7 locations that we will be covering this summer, starting on May 6th, I believe, that's going to be the West. Check that. It's going to be the Lake Travis SQT. And let me just go ahead and run that back real quick to give you the definitive date. That's going to be May 16th, 2020. Lake Travis Cavaliers will house the state SQT for qualifying tournament for the big show in College Station. So we'll be on a tour this summertime. I'm sure you'll probably see everybody out there getting that content. We're going to be doing things not only in Austin, probably in San Antonio, and definitely in the Valley. Just want to let those schools know, get that garner attention that we've been providing to the Austin area. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and close it out. Final thought of the night. Houston Roughnecks, #1 team in the XFL. Deontay Wilder knocks out Tyson Fury in less than 6 rounds. That's my final thought on that. We'll see y'all Saturday. And, of course, if y'all are enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And tell me real quick in the comments down below who wins that fight this weekend. Of course, everybody hit the bell on YouTube, and we'll let you know when we upload. We gone.